This is Abby.
Anybody?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, gotcha.
Oh, cool. This is Abby. I listened to this song by Celine Dion, "I'm Alive."
That's
I
cool.
start dancing. It's great.
That's awesome. What else? Anybody? Joe, you listen to like John Fogerty, Center Field, or what? No, I'm just...
You like that one? I don't really listen to a lot of music in the morning. Maybe I ought to start doing that. Not until I get out of my car.
Anybody else? Something? Paul, you're super dressed up today. Got the suit going. Nice.
Always do. Always like this.
Fresh and
I work in
clean.
the office, right? So I work in money, so I gotta look like a money.
Yeah, I hear you. Jesse, go ahead.
I go to the gym every morning at 5:30 for about an hour and a half, and I listen to my music then.
What do you rock out to?
I just have like a whole mix thing I make on through my phone app. It was they call Spotify there, so I just mix it up. They have like workout music and stuff you can listen to. So I pretty much like everything but opera.
Yeah. Well, so if I'm doing light cardio, then I've got like just scores from movies. So like Lord of the Rings, Last of the Mohicans, that kind of stuff. And then if I'm when I get into weights and I get going serious, then I get heavy. I like heavy music when I'm doing that. Stuff that my mom would probably cringe at. But
like death metal.
not death metal. So I've got some friends that are like death metal guys. Like I don't get that heavy, but it's heavy. White Zombie's not death metal, but it's heavy. You know what I mean? There's a guy named Rob Bailey, and the Hustle Standard are great. I think so. Working out. Anyway, I know that's what everybody wanted to listen to, but good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Monday High Performance, welcome aboard. My name's Andrew. For some of you guys that are joining for the first time, for those of you that have been around for a while, my name is still Andrew. Hopefully you guys did a little bit of work over the weekend. Did anybody get a chance to do one of the personality tests at all? Last 72 hours, 96 hours? Do one of those, guys. If you haven't watched them yet. Paul, did you? How was it?
I did it, but I haven't got the result back saying I will get it in 24 hours.
Okay, got it. Did anybody else do one? No? James, did you? How was it?
Yeah. I think they said I was like the teacher one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Depending on which test you are. I mean, there's so many different.
Yeah.
I saw one this morning that was like, are you a wolf, a lion, a gazelle, all these different things. So like, there's so many different kinds.
Okay. Yeah, I was.
Anyway, if you haven't yet, do one of those personality tests, guys. Just even the free ones, just get a better idea of who you are, self-awareness, everything else. So Friday, we talked a little bit about branding, right? Does everybody remember that? Direct response and branding. Yes. Did anybody get a couple of thoughts that came from that, made you think a little bit, went well? Anybody? Yes? Because I plan on going a little bit more into that today. We're talking about target market. We're talking about, how to create content and headlines that go with that. Is that what everybody's good with? Yeah?
Yeah.
Is it just because it's Monday and we're all still floating through the weekend?
This is Abby.
Yeah.
And I was really happy we had that call last time because I know and I'm aware that I'm quite apprehensive about engaging for some reason. So it was very helpful, and I'm even glad that we're going to go more into that today.
Okay. Sundar, the link for the personality test. So I talked about like the Myers-Briggs, the StrengthsFinder 2.0, but you can just hop on and Google personality tests, and there's some are free, and there's other ones. I've got some that I like. I think right now it's not as important to pick the exact one. I just want you to do one so you get a better idea where you're at. You know what I mean? So, yes, Matthew, absolutely. And it'll be better after today anyway, because you can put the two together, and like sharing for some of you guys that want the slides, it's going to be better after today because I've got the last few. So I've only got a handful of slides on today's, but I've got key components with each one. So I'm going to do a quick review of Fridays so you guys can kind of see that. And then we'll dive into it. All right. So I talked about with branding, I talked about how it's not just there's a difference in advertising and marketing. There's a difference in creating a brand for you versus creating, you know, some big international brand. You're not trying to compete with, you know, the Nikes and the Adidas of the world. You want to create something around you. You become that credible celebrity in this world, right? That's essentially what you're doing. It's just the world that we're in. Celebrity on any level, you know, credibility. People are going to buy from who they know, like, and trust. And so you do little things to kind of build up that credibility. All right. So along those lines, I'm going to go through. Let me pull this up, make this full screen. So as you begin to create content, as you begin to go out, this is what I talked about. I'm going to go through some of these quick because I spent Friday going through this. Have a plan to sell from the beginning. Don't make delaying a desirable option. So take action now. Clear instructions on what you want them to do, track and measure, right? Facebook is great at tracking, measuring. Google Ads, there's amazing stuff there. But the point of that is too many times people are putting out content with no real idea about tracking. Your businesses that you're going to be marketing to, your target audience, I promise you that is one of their biggest cardinal sins when it comes to marketing online. Whenever I talk with a new business that I'm onboarding, either, you know, whether, because I've talked to a lot of you guys about it, I don't just do, I've got the automated, they can just buy it, like the DFY and some of that stuff. Here you go. And here's the template, but I also offer some other services. One of the biggest things they have is they've got an online presence, but they think that just posting stuff or writing things out as if it's a brochure or posting, you know, a motivational quote on their page is going to engage people and get clients. That's not the case. Okay. So it's content with the intent to sell. Okay. So branding should be a byproduct of effective direct response marketing, not the other way around. Okay. Again, I'm going through this quick. Okay. Because this is what I did. So post, promotions, ads, photos, posturing should have a goal towards sales. Okay. So you're building up value, showing them what it is and why they want to do business with you, right? Why they want your training, because you know what you're doing, and it's going to eventually drive them to the posts or the ads that where they're buying from. It should cultivate interest and need in whatever pain your product will really relieve, right? And the WIIFM, what's in it for me, when you do make the pitch. Okay. It isn't just about building followers and likes. It's about getting sales. Questions there? Any questions on this? No, we're good. All right. Speak up, especially during these first few slides if you got questions, because I'm rolling. Okay. Branding should be, again, byproduct of direct response marketing. Come on. Did I do that same one twice? Maybe I did. All right. So these are these are examples of slogans. People think this is branding. It's not, right? A lot of people had no idea. Did anybody know Adidas was impossible is nothing, or Victoria's Secret used to be a body for everybody? Anybody know any of those things? No, right? Because they're coming up with a slogan that doesn't have anything to do with anything. It's just some advertising firm that decides they want to charge for it, right? So, unique selling position, market dominating position. Questions on what these are. Here's a question that you're asking. This is what your content is going to teach them about. Everything you do is about how to help them with something they have but they don't want, and something they want but they don't have. And then being able to, through this type of headline content, etc., answer the question that they will ask. Why should I, your prospect, choose to do business with you versus any and every other option out there?
Hey, Andrew, can you just give me a quick example of what you would see as a difference between a USP and a market dominating position? So, yeah, the market dominating position gets a little deeper into that question of something they have but they don't want. So a unique selling position, and I think we had Raul on last week, is like, you know, he owns a hotel with a restaurant and bar in it, and it's the only one in the area, only hotel in the area with a restaurant and a bar. And so talking about that in a way could be a unique selling position. Hey, you can be with us, and we're the only ones that have that. The market dominating position is saying it a bit more like you're speaking more to them about those pain points that they got. Like, how are you bridging that gap for them instead of just, here's this feature that we've got. Because too often people get caught up and they think that, you know, time in business or background experience or any of those things
that lends to your credibility, but it's not necessarily a unique selling position, right? Like, Matthew stepping into a market, and some of you guys are, think about it. There's going to be someone in your niche with more experience. There's going to be someone in your niche with, with a bigger team. There's going to be someone in your niche that's done it longer, right? So you don't have that as a unique selling point. You can't even, it's not even just the, I've run a business there, right? Well, honestly, in most places nowadays, that's not super unique. So you've got to find a way. What are you going to offer, and how are you going to offer it, and how are you going to deliver what you're offering, right? And part of that will be through your content. It may be through follow-up. It may be through some extra stuff, but what is it you're doing that's going to put you in a position to be able to dominate your niche, right? Does that explain, at least on principle, some of that? Okay. And I've got, like, if you really want to dive into it, I've got a whole worksheet on it that I do for businesses with questions and everything else to really kind of pull that out. And it helps, honestly, it helps sometimes grabbing somebody else and saying, hey, so what's your unique selling position? What's your market dominating position? What does your customer have that they don't want? What do they, want, but they don't have? And when you can find a way to answer that question and position yourself in a way that you can remove the risk, or at least, position yourself that I can take care of this for you without any problems for yourself, then that's where you start to establish that. Does that make sense? Are we good with that, everybody? Yes, no? Questions on any of it? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Okay. Next, building your brand. Build it where it counts. We talked about this, right? What you are about that resonates with the specific who. Doesn't matter about yourself, it's them. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about this. Again, solid, accountable, profitable, direct response. That's what you're building. Okay. Brand identity together with the customer culture. So this is kind of building out that following, small business versus personal corporate. Okay. So knowing your audience. I feel like there's a disconnect with the number of you as we talk. They just can't grab this. So I'm going to go over kind of some of these key points. So this is where you've got to throw political correctness out the window, okay? Forget about the PC culture. Forget about the way everybody's trying to tell you, don't judge and stereotypes and blah, 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 blah. Listen, you're marketers now. You've got to be able to stereotype, okay? I mean, that's the reality. There's always going to be outliers, but for the most part, there are stereotypes. Does anyone want to discuss that? Or can anyone discuss it with me? Your thoughts on it when it comes to this? Because you're looking at, and I'll show you the slide again in a second, but look, sex, age, marital status, location. You could even get into sexual orientation, education, income, tech expertise, where they live in, all of those things, right? Does anyone want to discuss any of that and why it can be relevant? Why it should be relevant?
I believe that you have to know what you're selling and who it's best fit for. So sometimes you're selling things for only females, so then you only modify your ads or whatever you're targeting towards female, or vice versa versus men. Or if you want a certain age group, that whatever your brand is tailored to that specific age group. Not necessarily, it wouldn't work for elderlies. It would only work for teenagers, vice versa.
Right. Yeah. Understanding, it's like, and go ahead, Matthew.
Well, just from my experience, if you from a marketing spend perspective, for example, if you're doing ads, you have to target. Otherwise, your ads are going to go to everybody, and your product's not for everybody. So it's a huge cost. And then, of course, when you're going to sell, it helps to know again, what do they want, and if you don't know your kind of avatar or your ideal kind of client, then you have no idea what they want.
Yeah. So again, Matthew mentioned the word avatar. I've said it on some of the calls. Does everyone understand what that is? An avatar is essentially an image that you've created, or a description that you've created of your target audience, right? You fill it in, you create that outline, and you kind of fill it in with all of the fluff of who they are. Okay. So if we talk about avatar, we're not talking about the last Airbender. We're not talking about the big people on whatever the hell that planet is with James Cameron. Okay. So that's what your avatar is. All right. So back to it. Now we've defined kind of what they look like, where they live, how they live. Now we look at media buying habits, interests, frustrations, and brands. So how do we check that stuff out? And if you looked at that whole slide, I have a couple of clues on there, but how do we figure that stuff out? We've got our audience, they're contractors, they're coaches, they're restaurants, they're plumbers, they're photographers, they're attorneys, they're doctors. How do we figure out this information about them? What do we need to do?
Well, I suppose you could
search it.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Matthew.
I was just going to say, if, for example, if you found somebody that you think would be your ideal client, go check out what they're interested in. Like, see what pages they follow, see who they follow, see what, and imagine where they're going. Like, where do they spend their time online? What kind of things they follow, that kind of stuff.
Good. Paul, what were you going to say?
It was pretty much same aligned with Matthew, what he said. It's basically what you have to do, whatever niche you want to pick. You might have to go find the person, have an interview, have a lunch with them, and see what they go and where they hang out and things like that. So
that's one way. Now, COVID and lockdown and quarantine, not too often you'll be able to grab people and go to lunch, right? So now we got half of you that aren't on camera, so I need a confirmation inside of the chat from each of you. Everybody else online, everybody's got a Facebook page, right? Everyone has their own Facebook page. Yes, good. Everybody's going to be willing to do a little bit of research. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. This is going to make a difference, guys, and people that run a business, and those of you that start a hobby and you get going and you just go, oh, damn it, it didn't work, right? Oh, I never figured it out. Oh, why isn't my ad converting? Because you're not targeting the market. You don't understand who you're going after, right? You haven't done the research. Research may not be sexy, but it can be exciting because you start to get into the mind of your prospect. You know what's going on. I'm banging on my desk here. Sorry. So
can I ask a quick question, Andrew?
When you're doing a webinar and video. Yeah, go ahead.
Have you, I remember hearing about this, I think from Dean Graciosi, but have you ever done something where you've created a profile for yourself on Facebook and just made yourself your ideal avatar to see like who would market you and how they're marketing you? Have you ever done anything like that?
I mean, I didn't do it. My Facebook is really, it started out as like this, and it started obviously when I was married and everything else. And so it was all the family, is the nonsense that Facebook was used for. And I turned into, most of my ideal clients are me. Now, they used to be for a long, long time. Now, when I target very specifically a niche that I'm not 100% active in, but I've liked some of those things enough that I'm, I end up getting targeted by, what I want. Now, it's a great idea though. Create a profile and get in and like the things. So there's different ways to do it, right? You can target so that do it the way your target would, and do it the way your competitors would, right? So, or, like your competitors, figure out who those competitors would be and like their stuff to see what they're doing. Just because, with this in mind, guys, just because they're doing something doesn't necessarily mean it's working, right? This is where you start to get familiar with Facebook and how it works. So we identify our target market, we get into some groups, right? Join some groups. And then you look at those people, and I'm going to give you some ideas here, but start to go to their pages, right? Everyone know how you can do that? You can click over to someone's page and see what they like, see what they follow, see where they're interacting, see what they're posting. Someone say something? Who was that?
Yeah, I joined some groups this weekend.
Good. Guys, I mean, it's simple stuff, but go ahead, Billy.
I'm sorry, but just because I joined a few groups, and I already have people sending me messages from other groups that I did not join. They're asking me to put my product up on their page and saying other people might want it in their group. But so I joined some and I got responses back immediately. I'm just waiting to see where it goes.
Yeah, it's all about and doing it in a way that every group's going to be a little bit different. I've talked about this in the joint venture one, but get out, talk with or message the admin, see what they'll allow, right? Don't overstep, guys. That's something that happens a little too often. So good. All right, let me keep rolling here. So the sexy research, right? You guys get familiar with research, get to understand your target audience. So get to know the groups, and then you go to look at their pages. What do they like? What are they following? What are they posting? right? I remember it was crazy. We did, so I had some e-commerce stuff that I was launching when I had some regular products I was doing, and found out that there was a lot of my customers. It was so weird. A lot of them liked a handful of rock bands, and then a lot of them were liking like Wolves and Mystic. It was, I had an e-commerce store selling some jewelry and things that went for a while, and it was bizarre. In my opinion, it was bizarre, but they liked it, and I put out some ads that kind of had that feel to it, and all of a sudden the conversions went up, right? Get to know your group is what I'm talking about. Okay. So one way to do it, if you're inside some groups or you're starting to build up a page, here are some questions that you can ask. These 3 questions. Okay. You can ask these 3 questions. So I got a question here. People don't always use their name for pages, so we can't easily find them. They use their name for private pages, almost always, Lynn. You're in a group, you're going to have people in that group. Like if I join a group, I find a group of other, health coaches, of business builders, of entrepreneurs, any industry you think of, you join in, and most of them have their personal profile in there. So you just click on their profile and go over. Now, some of them have it that it's not public, and that's fine. You can still see typically a handful of posts or things that they like. A lot of people don't have it 100% blocked out. So look, and if they do, I promise there's other people that have it open. If somebody's blocked, keep looking. Don't just stop. It's there. Okay, so these are questions that you can ask in groups, right? Billy, you talked about you just joined a group. So you hop in and you go, hey, guys, what's the number one question you have about your industry and where you're at in 2020? If you could change one thing about the plumbing industry as a whole with everything we've got to deal with, what would it be? If you had a magic wand, what's the one thing you would like different about XYZ industry? What do these questions do? What are the answers? Like, why these types of questions, guys?
Get them engaged.
Engagement's huge, right? Because what do people want to do? You're asking them what do they have that they don't want, or what do they want but they don't have, right? This goes to that market dominating position. You're asking them exactly that. So it gets them engaged. What else? Interests and frustrations. Yep. Discover their pain points. Absolutely. What else?
Okay. Well, hey, would that be kind of leads too, right? Like if they comment on your post, then you can message them and say, hey, have you ever thought of, you should check out this. I think you'll enjoy this. This has been working great, or whatever. You can start a conversation.
It can absolutely do that. Absolutely. Totally. So here's some different ways to start building that brand out, right? As you get to know your audience, right? So your content, guys, this is what you do for content. How do you get content? Those questions are a great way to do it, right? But here you go. You're going to enter the conversation what's already going on in your prospect's mind. Asking those questions lets you know what's happening with them, because that's the only thing that matters. Okay, you're getting rid of your preconceived notions and you're going into it with what they want. Okay, so you can use those answers for a report. You can put together a report. It turns into great marketing copy, ad copy, because they're telling you, and you could say, we ran a survey and the top answer, or you'd be surprised at what plumbers told us their biggest problem was. Is your number one problem the same as all these other plumbers, right? Like all of those things come in handy. Somebody's got audio on, it's making noise. So that makes sense, guys. So top trending searches. This doesn't necessarily have to be top trending searches within your niche. Just trending searches in general, because whoever's searching for a lot of stuff. Now, so you go on Google, you look up the top searches, figure out the ones that may fit a little bit better with your market. But that's what people pay attention to, right? Stuff they're Googling. Okay. It gives you something to talk about. Don't share more than 10% of the time. Sometimes people are just sharing other people's articles, other people's videos. I can't tell you how many businesses I see that share cute viral videos because they think that viral video is going to help their page engagement for some reason. It's no, right? they always joke about it, but the cat dancing with the owner playing the drums, or the dogs waddling in a costume, or the kids acting silly isn't going to help your page convert to sales. It's just not. Okay. Even other articles within your niche, because you can find other articles, other videos, and other things within your niche. Don't just share this. So how can we be original? So how can we use those topics, though? Use those trending searches, use the topics, use the questions. How can we do that while using other people's info? It's easy. You say, one of the greatest investors of all time, use this as a quote, right? Use a quote from Warren Buffett, but then you write about it and you include a video or a picture, right? This is just not necessarily the ad, but this is just content, right? That makes sense with everybody?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of what I come up with, I will absolutely give credit to, Dan Sullivan, to, Dan Kennedy, to Brandon Burchard. Like, I'm taking that and I'm repurposing so that you guys can get it, right? You do the same thing with your content. Okay. Divers, skimmers, and how to nurture. And the purpose of all of this content, guys, is the understanding you're going to place an ad. You're going to have people that'll dive right in. You're going to have people that skim and they want to come over to your page and they want to check out who you are before they purchase, right? We've talked about that. It used to be 5 to 12 touches before someone bought. Now it's more like 15 to 30, right? And that's how you start to nurture. So next, a couple of quick things as far as content. You can go, sit down, make a list. What would be 25 questions from your prospect that they would ask? After you've done some of your research and you figure out who they are, where they are, what they like, what they follow, all of that, then write out 25 questions from my industry. What would be 25 questions? That gives you almost a month's worth of content. You can look up on Quora, Reddit, Google, top questions from plumbing. What are coaches really looking for? How can blah, blah, like, think about, get yourself in there, in their head. So it's not you. Another way to do great content is have great people. You don't have to do all this on your own, guys. You don't. I've written a couple of ebooks with the ghostwriter. I don't have to write it all. I give her the outline. I give her paragraphs. We go through stuff. We do interviews. She writes stuff out. I modify things. Like, you can create a lot. And again, not all of this is necessary to launch. I don't want to overwhelm anybody. You don't have to have all of this ready the moment that you launch, but you will if you're looking to build up a business that's consistently doing 6 figures. Some of you are talking about high 6 figures. Some of you want to get up into that 7-figure range. You need to put all the pieces in place, whether you're the one doing it or you outsource, which is what you should be doing, especially as you escalate and grow, right? At some point, you need to add some of this stuff in, right? Okay. A couple of other quick things, ideas as far as headlines. Okay. Key components on Facebook. If you're writing a headline, you need to address them without saying the word you. Facebook doesn't like the word you inside ads and headlines. Okay. So don't say, learn how you can make a difference in your business. They don't like the word you. All right. I can't be more clear with that. I can't tell you anymore. If you use the word you in all of your ads, you'll get them flagged. So there's ways that you can write it without doing it. Imagine what will happen with, we can brainstorm later. My brain's not working right now. So be willing to be a little controversial. Throw something out there once in a while to throw them off and make them go, what the heck are they talking about? Okay, speak directly to your target. Forget about everyone else. Don't fall into the trap that a lot of people do where they say, yeah, but I want to get more people to click. Well, then speak to one person. Quit trying to speak to everybody. Okay. Open loop and congruent. So open loop means that you're writing things in a way, the ad is written in a way where the sentence or something is kind of continued onto the next page, or where they have to click and create a little bit more. Your link is visible above the click. Your link is right there where they can see it and act on it. But you want them to continue that conversation. You've got a sentence or two that talks about what they have, but they don't want, but what they want, but they don't have, right? You're addressing that in your ad, and then it's congruent. So what they see on the ad is what they see on the page that they click over to, whatever your lead magnet is, whatever template you decide to use from us, however you roll with it. And then later down the road when you're doing your own, it's got to be congruent, guys. Make sense? Good. Look at the camera and smile. You can use the stuff that we've got as far as ads go at some point, depending on how big you scale. You may want to do some ads on your own. It may be you. So do that. Wear red. Red seems to convert actually a little bit higher than other colors, believe it or not. But even if it doesn't, like, just test things out. Don't be dull is essentially what I'm saying, right? Liven yourself up, and that comes with practice. Okay. Has everyone seen? All right. Clear, concise. So be clear about what you're writing, what you want them to do. Your ad cannot have more than 20% of copy. At some point, I'll end up talking a little bit more about Facebook ads. You've got training inside the partner program. There's additional training inside the accelerator. But if you're writing an ad, it can't just be, unless you're doing like a sponsored advertorial type of thing, it can't just be ad copy, right? Does that make sense with everybody? If you've got a video or an image, it can't just be, half of its copy written all over it. Tell them, show them, get them a call to action. But has everyone seen, there's the clip from Jurassic Park where he's sitting right at the very beginning, and he's sitting, and this meme is everywhere, right? He's sitting having lunch with the guy, and he's talking about the shaving can cream and what's his name, Ned, right? And he's talking to him about buying the dinosaur, or getting the dinosaur eggs. And he's like, here's how you do it. And the guy that he's making the deal with is trying to get him to be quiet and be a bit more, subtle about what he's doing, right? And he goes, hey, everybody, look over here, look over here, look over here. And you go, see, nobody cares. Nobody's paying attention. Nobody cares. Some of you guys are saying, well, I don't want to be on camera. I don't want to do this. I'm struggling. I'm just getting going. Oh, my gosh. Look, being overwhelmed is fine. Struggling a little bit at the beginning is fine. Everybody's going through it, guys. No one, like, if you just do it and get it out there, people will respond to it, and just be authentic and be you in what you're doing and in your marketing and everything else. You'll get there. Okay. Don't get caught up with it at the beginning. Most of the noise and the obstacles and the frustrations that you have in your head are just yours, and you can get through them, right? Now, whether that's through mentorship, it's through the right leverage or the right system, or it's just keeping at it. Every single one of you guys is capable of getting where you need to, and understanding every one of the points that I just made, leveraging each one of them so they become a skill and a tool that can take your business where you're looking to go, so you can rise up, you can make this happen, you can generate what you need to achieve your goals, to rise from the ashes and fly like the phoenix. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we're done for today.